Hey guys, this is Forsaken Reality here with the fourth part of the Survival Game Kit version 2 and the multiplayer system version 2 merge tutorial. So in this one we're going to continue on where we left off, and we're going to be setting up our leaning, our weapon collision, and I'll also set up our toggle so you can aim and unaim by just releasing the button, or you can have it toggled so that you have to press the button again to unaim. So it would look like this normally. And we'll have our lean. And our wall collision. Jumping is something I'm going to redo in another video. But we're pretty close to getting there now. So we can block when we go into our collision. And it interpolates between them like multiplayer system. So without further ado, we will get into setting that up. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab my testing project and pull it over out of the way. And we are going to work on our leaning. So we're going to want to open up our character blueprint. And our character component. And we'll also need our multiplayer system character. And our multiplayer system controller. So in our controller, we have our lean right here. Actually, I might not use this. I think I have it set up a little differently. Yeah. So we're just gonna open up our survival game kit and MVP. Just double checking, make sure that's yeah. So we'll open up our anim blueprint. Go to our anim graph, and right here we're going to delete this. And I'll also break this and move this up. Also gonna break this and move it up. And drag out and right click and type in save and get a new cache pose. And I'm gonna name this upper body state machine. And I'm gonna do the same thing here, gonna save pose. That'll be the lower body state machine. That just controls all your animation states. And we will come down here and get our lower body. find our upper body. Let's compile that for now. We're going to want to go to our multiplayer system and get our animation blueprint. And in here, just going to quickly check mine. In here, I'm going to go to my anim graph. And I'm just going to grab, hold Alt and click, and you can get that node unclicked. We're just going to copy these, Control C, and paste those in here. And that's for our new leaning. Let me just search for our lean. Plug that in like that. You can just copy and paste that there. And then we just plug this in like this. And that will be that. We'll actually drag our lean right here and plug it into our head rotation. Okay, so that's our lean set up. Okay, I just paused it for a moment because I was looking through the lean and actually made it slightly a bit better to use. So you just remove that, and that should be plugged into there, and that should be multiplied by -1. Delete these. And now when we play, we'll have our lean. We won't have our wall collision yet. And notice that the gun will tilt farther than the camera. That's due to this here specifically. Adjust the camera so it's not moving as much as the head in the spine. Brings it back slightly, basically. Let's comment this leaning. Now we want to work on our weapon block. Before we do that, you'll notice that you click play, you're in idle, that your head is pretty wobbly, and that's just due to the animation that's in there right now. You can go to your upper body and idle, and you can just find your empty hands, or you could just search empty hands. Over here, got your empty hands, upper body. I'm just going to grab this idle from multiplayer system, and that'll just adjust the head a little bit. And now you'll have a clean idle head movement, and you can use camera shakes, which we'll use later. And I'm also going to look into a method to adjust the head shake, maybe. But I'll also be, actually, I'm just going to set up a, I have a way that a method that you can use to set up the jump, but I'll do that in the next video. We set up our jump stuff. So now that we have that idle fixed, we can go into our character component. And first thing we're going to need is our block. So right here in our multiplayer system player, master BP, go into your movement, your event graph movement, and you're just going to control C to copy that. And I'm just going to paste this right here for now. And compile and save. And then we're going to go into our clipping and clipping checks. And so we're going to set up our blocking. So we're going to use all of this, we're going to need all of this stuff from Survival Game Kit's blocking. We're going to right click, align trace by channel. I'll just leave that there like that for now, and I'll change that out after. First thing we're going to do is come into your clipping block. And I'm just going to grab all this debugging stuff. Pull this over. Back there. That's just for the clipping debug. You can toggle this on and it'll turn on the debugging for your clipping printout, trace channel visibility, and the hit actor. We're going to drag out of our true. We're going to get our server block. And our block distance is going to be our distance map range clamped. That's our value. It's going to be 100, 50, 0, and 1. We'll plug that in there. And we're just going to copy this node, Control C, and paste it in. That's going to run through false and reset it back to 0. I just thought of this now. I was thinking about it earlier, but I just realized the method to interpret so it doesn't snap back instantly. So basically you drag out of here and create an interpolation to set your block distance, but for now we're just going to do this. I'm just going to leave a note here for now. And let's make that red. So now we have that set up. And our blocking being set, I believe we can head to our animation blueprint. So close all these tabs because there's just too many open. And event graph. And we'll update animations. In here, update anim variables in action events, I believe. No. Animation curves. Right here at the end of our animation curves, it's being set to our currently our clipping alpha. We can just remove this. You get the block distance variable, which is being interpolated up depending on how close it is to the wall. So it gets the distance from the wall rather than just setting it 0 or 1 if it's true or false. And we can delete that. And now in our anim graph, drag this out, just put this right there actually. Break this. Just get a blend node. And it's going to be blending on this depending on our weapon collision variable, which is our distance to the mesh we're hitting. And we'll just go to our multiplayer system anim VP anim graph. Get these three variables right here, or this and that. Control C. Let's plug that in after the blend. Create this variable. We're going to send this variable from the weapon eventually so that we can use multiple block animations and even create our own custom ones. It's basically just an idle pose that's frozen that's holding the gun. So basically it will blend between upper body state machine and the blocked animation. Put it in like that. And there's our weapon collision. Let's organize this a little. Compile and save. So test that out, make sure everything's working fine. As you can see, it's interpolating, but this is the issue that I was running into with the sphere trace. That seems to have more of a snap to it, but if we go to our character component and our clipping checks, we go to our sphere trace, and instead of using this, we hold control, drag up, drag the trace channel, ignore debug type, and also the return value, out hit, and the input or the output. Delete this, delete this, delete that. there's gonna be a lot of variables that are gonna need to be cleaned up, but right now we can quickly go to survival game crit, items, holdables, master holdable. Maybe we can get our clipping radius and just delete that variable. So we're not going to need it anymore. Now this should line trace, and our blocking should be smoother. Multiplayer system uses a line trace to smoothen it out. Seems to be some issues with it down there. I'll have to look into those. I'm pretty sure they're in multiplayer system itself. It's just some odd things that you need multiple line traces for, perhaps, or the interpolate the camera. You might do that instead. So that's our blocking done. We're getting pretty close to finish. Just some animation things we need to adjust. A couple more things like our jumping we need to do some blending with, and a few things here and there. Those just do some touch-ups on. Pretty sure melee weapons should also work fine. I'll take a look at that. Yeah, they follow. For some reason I'm not able to do my melee attack. Maybe I can look into what stopped that exactly. I think it was just like how I equipped it. Something to do with the inaction event is stopping it because I was moving while I was equipping it. So that's it for the blocking. I'm going to set up a quick toggle for the unaimed, because you notice that when you aim you gotta click the to unaim again. Some people might not like that. I personally prefer to click and then release to unaim. So to fix that, I'm gonna go into our character component, create a variable. It's gonna be released to unaim, and the B just makes it easier to know that it's a boolean when you're reading down through them. You put it into the world, the B doesn't exist. Just so you know. And I'm going to toggle this true so that it is released to unaim. You can set that up in a main menu system or something like that as a toggle in the menu. They can turn it on and off. So they can either click the aim and click the unaim, or automatically unaim when you release. So we're just going to create a branch. Move all this down a little bit. Get our character component, or we just put our variable. Get release to unaim. Just fixing that spelling in there. And we're going to check if release to unaim is true or not. And if it's false, then we'll just do our normal codes. So that means we'll have to click to unaim again. But if it's true, we'll run into here. And this will allow us to basically run through our code that would normally ran through when we clicked it, and that would allow us to unaim. So we check that. Seems to be a rotation issue there. Let's look into that. Not too sure what actually caused that. Just make sure I literally just plugged this in up there, and then I went back, and then after that I plugged it back in when I was testing. Compiled and saved all. It's just weird. Don't understand why it would even do that. Maybe just something didn't save properly. So there we go, have everything working, and we can toggle the aim. And you could simply just toggle that off to click the aim again if you'd prefer that. That's actually going to be everything for this episode. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons so you don't miss out on future tutorial uploads. We'll continue on with this tutorial in the next video. We'll work on our jumping and a few other things. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comments section below or join my Discord server using the link in the description. Thanks, I'll see you all in the next episode.